Greetings from the Coral Reefer Bandit Hideout, the Motherloo Community Chest Treasure Island Matrix. Tiny, bees, buzzing, me, like me. So today, once again, my sense of feeling of accomplishment in an otherwise wasted life to document history. Also, to put a face with the word sort of mentality, because I honestly don't know if I will ever escape to any plateau of worthiness to ever accomplish anything worthwhile with life. Because the longer it goes, the more guilty that the comrades in arms, the community chest, organized, organ theft, brothers, blood doping, hooch swilling, crown liquor, whorehouse sisters are more deliberate. It goes back to the field of dreams once again. Build it and they will come, which is a statement on infallibility. So that's why I am used. Not only do they get the Lexi Bell penthouse suite, I'm the key maker there, the doorman, the Ascension Doorman Sunshine Bridge, Stairway to Heaven, that I can't go to. I can only open the door, I can only pay, but I can't go. Because then they might have to pay. So yeah, I'm the MasterCard, the MC Hammer MasterCard Visa varsity. So, the notion of figuring responsibility, risk management, well, there's variations on intent. There's risk management based upon faulty tower logic. And that's really dangerous. And that's why they utilize me as the miracle grow. Also, the infallibility. Once again, you can build this crazy structure, the faulty tower warning that was not heeded, and you can build this crazy structure on infallibility. That's why, like I said, the penthouse is utilized. So you've got the crazy logic mutates logic of the system to where it seems, and it's filled in with lots and lots of cash and sprawl and padding and things like that, even though that dilutes the value and mutates the terminology, the principles. So when you fill in the gaps, kind of like the Jurassic Park gene splice with African frogs who, and then they have the thing about how African frogs sometimes change sex in order to perpetuate life. That's a logic basis. That's not the fact of what's happening. But that's what they're doing is they've got Kermit the Frog Muppet tangled, and they're mutating my genetics, which is the VIP infallible penthouse, Lexi Bells and the Bows, in order to make the super priced keys to access this. Then they're not paying anything, so the bank cannot be maintained. Since I am unable to maintain the estate properly, it's wide open, wild, wild west. So anybody with the smarts to figure out a game plan can come in and swoop in and snatch up some assets. That's what's going on. So it's decimated, completely looted, like the locusts came in and wiped out all the crops. Then they salted the land so that they would never have to pay anything. Not only did they want to they wanted to loot the place to make sure that they never had to pay anything to reverse the curse, because they're untouchables because of this notion of infallibility from all the dope they ingest from my blood. They salt the land so nothing will ever grow. So it'll be barren. So then the bank will stay bankrupt. What they're trying to do is they bankrupted the bank. And they want to make sure it does not come out of Chapter 12. So they want to make sure, Chapter 1. So they want to make sure the bank stays in bankruptcy. Never return. So they never want to have to pay anything. So they salt the land so nothing can ever grow there. And then and they're using the bait and switch. And what they've done with me, and this is where the legality is used. They've converted me into like a Boston whale, a big boat, or a factory, as I talked about yesterday. My body being various sectors of the economy, factories, industry, things like that. If you look at it from a grand scale, you can look at it like a mountain or a canyon, how it really is a canyon, or the state, as you would. So it's divided up. The top layer, the problem is the top layer is owned by private individuals who pay the government, who does not manage the estate. Because like I said, Louisiana is one small part of the, since they're using the penthouse infallibility, since they were greedy and wanted to use the St. Louis King of France infallibility, which connects into a huge global estate. So the people, the private property is paying the domestic government, who does not care about the big picture estate. Then factor in it's being undermined, and then the representational value of the products produced, then they do not pay anything either to the real landlords at all. So the estate is barren, is making no cash at all. Then they're taking the body, my body, and this is after I've been screwed so many ways. They are then, and all I'm talking about is divesting the Louisiana estate. Put some walls to where Louisiana is walled off from the global estate. That's what I'm trying to do, but they do not want me to. If I build a castle or a bank wall or something like that, I could divest, or I could specifically state that Louisiana is, even though we're still connected through other means, that's why St. Bart's is there, honestly. I honestly think. It's because you have to divest the state of Louisiana and then to a separate entity. That's why I call it for principalities within the state of Louisiana, which are they do not want. You've got to divest the global connectivity because of the representational value. If you're going to have a representational system, you have to have some parameters, and it's just not making any sense at all. So yeah, you could have a principality within the state of Louisiana, or you could have a principality in the Caribbean or in wherever. Or just state that the state of Louisiana, there has to be, is separated from, but that's where they tie into. That's why I called for years ago, change the name of the Gulf of Mexico. Change it to the Gulf of Mississippi or whatever. But change the name of the Gulf of Mexico, because they're utilizing that to factor into Latin America assets as far as pooling value. Then they extract all these value and then they put drilling mud. They take all the value away, make all this cash, and then inflict and then implant worthless drilling mud in its place. That is in a representational system that is very, very dangerous. So that is the majority of the problem. I'm not against the energy companies. What I'm against is the magic, the amplified energy magic. The energy companies are making their money. But it's the amplified representational system plastics and magic that are produced that are then causing all of the problems. Infallibility mutates in logic. That's kind of the strings of it. So then I'm stuck here as a shell, a boat, or a factory, as you would. And the legality of it is they use the law to justify this. This is why I am handicapped in the impoverished. The bubble boy, poo boy, as you would. Because I am then utilized as to fetch in many notions, or as a boat, Boston whaler, or a dangerous catch, or perfect storm, or whatever you will. So then that's when the bait and switch comes in, because I'm a slave. And then they're also trying to be reverent to slavery in the past, using me to be reverent to slavery in the past. Which is crazy, because they will not allow me to fix the system. If the system did not have this faulty tower logic of infallibility, it wouldn't be such a gamble. So, bait and switch hacks. So they take, that's why I am forced public in the community in order to justify sharing. They want me to share. They're going to share with me, but they are forcing me to them to share with me so I can share with them. Problem is, their few $1,000s and my many, many billions of dollars. And then they're all representatives of their faction. They're all networks that distribute. So yeah, they share their pennies, and I share my billions. It's all just part of the community chest in the commune. And that's what's going on. So then they've got to find these hacks, these genetic modified hacks. Or me trying to escape. Me escaping is trying to get to a place where I can manage the estate. I'm not trying to escape per se. I'm trying to grow big enough to manage my body, manage the estate, and then therefore provide protection. I'm willing to pay whatever I owe, very, very much so. Even though they're charging massive usury rates, and it's under it's done. You've got a bunch of mercenary bounty hunter loan sharks that are protecting the sacred debt, or the sacred public access, Wayne's World public access to the Garth Brooks glass of champagne public access, public bars, but the problem is the private club. There's the public and the private. My bank deals with the private. So what they're doing is the public is using me to hunt the private clubs. Private clubs are either not very bright, too proud and envious to do anything. So they won't do anything. So it's like I got a subscription to Wired magazine. And of course, that's a precedent. I even got a Wired magazine hat and shirt. And of course, they use everything against me. This is just one little bitty example of how this pyramid distribution scam works. Fetch. So it's this weekend is Comic-Con in San Diego. The Padres. I just happen to pay for that. I must be their father, co-signing their loans with the ink, Sigma Delta Chi ink. The cosplay co-signature trigonometry. So I'm co-signing loans, even though that's the strange part about it. They can use me to co-sign because only system created is worthwhile or for some strange reason. So because of Comic-Con in San Diego, so SKAD sends a team to and now it's funny, I'm watching the SKAD booth at the Wired. They're doing animation or something. I don't know. It's just the whole fact. It's a precedent. And this is all theoretical. or it's a joke comedy. I don't know. This is how I interpret it. But the problem is the mob inflicts these permanent marks upon me in figures, ways, like in the Matrix when all the squiddies go after the assets, they're attacking assets. That's kind of the whole South by Southwest, 6x69, 4014, Johnson Controls, Millers. And also the Kansas City Hall is at 414 12th Street or something like that. And then that ties into Simmons Beauty Rest, and there's ties in all sorts of things. That's the crazy notion of the logic is basically like game of tag or match game or something like that. There's really not a lot. It's like a electric club. That's why they worship machines. So because SKAD is at Comic-Con and there's such validation of the ink based upon Sigma Delta Chi at the Wired booth, and I rank lower than all of them because I've been hacked to be at the bottom. So then they get precedence over everything, and so I also ordered to try to escape in order to build, to manage my escape. I need to be around competent people to try and generate enough assets to manage my estate. I mean, trying to maintain a global multi-billion-dollar estate on pennies is giving away a lot. I mean, it's not managing. It's just wild, wild west. So since I ordered magazines like Esquire and Condé Nast Traveler, because I need to try not. They wanted to waste. And this is another beau rivage vanity lesson. Revenge for vanity is they wasted my natural life at a time when the selfie individualism of connectivity is increasing individual vanity to make it even harder for me to can manage the estate, so it's easier to loot and pillage. The game is easier for the playboy hunters and game out there. They just jump in the boat and fillet themselves and cheer to be filleted. They were brainwashed like a cannery factory, a Henry Ford assembly line. So yeah, I think I ordered Town and Country, which is where I should. It's if I had an estate, I could. There would be walls that would set up a specific precedence, and I could hire global lawyers to set up this principality sort of documentation. But I'm not allowed to. I got to live in a commune and share a bit and share everything so they can share my global billions. And it's really, there's layers of it going on. There's so many layers of it. It really is. There's layers to it. But they want the lower and the more vulnerable I am, the more legitimate the other layer. They're trying to insulate themselves to look more legitimate. So the lower I am, the higher up of the scams look more legitimate, even though they're plugged into the same V Canyon scam. Rather than it's a pyramid, if it's a pyramid, I am managing the estate. But instead, it's a big V. And even there's a building, the Capital One building, it used to be the Hibernia Bank building in New Orleans, is like a martini glass. It's like this, it's like this. The pattern on it is. And I'm stuck at the very bottom at the elbow, probably, on the ground floor. It looks like a martini glass or a canyon with a big well at the bottom. And of course, I'm at the very, very bottom. But it all funnels up. So the problem is nobody is managing this estate. The domestics do not manage. So you've got these Boston Whaler fetching hacks to where I'm at her least. It's all about usurp. It's all about, they're all cutters. They're all trying to jump ahead of me. It's the Hunger Games. They're trying to keep control of me as their cash cow, except they're They kept me alive, and they're eating me at the same time. So it's very, very strange logic. Be like Mike, the meat reps in the clubs, and oh yeah, be like Mike, the infallibility. The problem is that's your Bureau of Land Management. When we're talking about, when you look at the society of equality and independence, does not add up on a balance sheet at all, unless you have a huge global pool of assets to fill in the gaps. That's the whole Jurassic Park, the African frogs, but in actuality, they're using South America to fill in the gaps. There's gene splicing from the St. Louis King of France communal pool, penthouse. So, if you're going to, you have to make a choice. Either you get rid of the representational government, or you get rid of eating meat. Because if you eat meat and you have a representational government with no balance, it's going to turn into a hamburger planet. So you either get rid of the representation, or you're always going to have part. Democracy will always be a part, but the overtly, the omega, as you would, amplified valuations. You've got to have balance to it. There's no balance. So you've got a bunch of sacred poser plastic individuals created by the system who are then eating meat, which is a pronoun, me being a pronoun of themselves. So they're eating themselves. So it's a cannibal cannery, cyclical hamburger, create a grinder, as you would sausage, as you would. So either you get rid of, you quit, and if you're going to live in a representational environment, it should be, some people should eat meat in order to control the herd, like hunting. You have to control the herd, but not everybody is a hunter. So not everybody should eat meat. There should be a majority fruits and vegetables diet with some interspersed meats. But for the most part, when you eat so much meat, it creates a sausage mentality, a bratwurst sausage mentality. That's why you're heading into the Johnsonville bratwurst world that we're working on to. But I'm paying, and they don't pay for their meat at all. They do not pay for their food, and they eat really good food. They do not pay for their liquor. They pay Crown Liquor. Who the hell are they? It doesn't make any sense. While I am forced to beg and unable to manage my estate to protect these sacred poser pimps who are basically thuggery taxing and paying thuggery sorts of insurance as revenge, of course, because of the lessons. So, you're killing the law, and you get these Visa MasterCards for free. And the cash that is produced pays it off, even though they are not able to. It's very, very strange. This whole notion of, and it's obviously they're taking it serious. You've got Visa and MasterCard, and then you've got Discover. And obviously, they're funneling it, they're trying to justify it through the Atlanta Federal Reserve, Arthur Blank checks, and Home Depot. The problem is, there's a big difference between A.B. Freeman Tulane from St. Louis King of France Cathedral and then Home Depot. Every mannequin, or that's where you get into your St. John's mentality. But they want me to worship the St. John's mentality so they can seize control of my estate. So if you got, Arthur Blank checks, great. And I say that because it's Home Depot. Because they're utilizing these homes as blank checks. You can just expand and expand and expand out, and it's the valuation of the system is built upon all these individual sacred cows, as you would, because of the value of the home, which must validate their existence through more and more junk. They're playing sides there. You can't play sides. So that's why they're seizing control of. They're trying to utilize through the St. Louis King of France Bank in Louisiana. They're trying to um, utilize the Atlanta Federal Reserve, which is at the bottom of the Mississippi Delta and the bottom half of Louisiana, to seize control and then run it through Home Depot of the individual wealth. So they basically want to upgrade. They want to get fatter and upgrade their values, but they will not let me manage my estate. Louisiana is playing the community chest game also. They're doing the same thing. So Louisiana sold their soul to on different levels. Part of Louisiana sold their soul to Home Depot, individualism, and then the wealthy country club of Louisiana sold their soul to the Athens Greek system. None of them. They want to try to play sides, but they're not. So yet I am not allowed to manage my estate. So they pay the system to taxes, but they do not pay the landlord to manage the estate, even though they are utilizing energy. So then they pay energy companies to come in, and as basically thuggery. And like I said, there is no animosity between the energy companies. It's the end users of these magic plastics, and the end users of these sacred fuels. Yeah, so you got these representatives that are spending huge to prove that they are real. That's why I am forced into this. Oh, and then the crazy pimps and the witch hoes who have been haunting me my entire life. They hate me so much. I'm there. They want to show how much they really hate everybody, but they need the system because they don't have any other choice, basically, because they're pretenders. So they don't have the choices of the global estate that they're looting, so they would rather destroy the world than prove that they're not. That's why they're hunters. So yeah, because I was inflicted with these hacks my entire life, because I was blinded, I was mismanaged, or because my family was brainwashed and was never allowed to grow up properly. We were fed in comas and brainwashed. So then the permanent marks by these crazy stalker hunter pimps and these crazy witch hoes are trying. That's why literally still being haunted from early in life to prove that the permanent marks inflicted are still distributing, and then they're trying to bribe the energy companies as their muscle. It's the crazy part about it. So these permanent marks, that's why I am forced into this dependent state of reverent empathy. And you got empathetic reverence as a bribe, even though the system itself is bad for the poor because it's faulty logic, which makes them super, super addicted. It's almost like they're addicted to food and water, the amount of illegality in the hack. It's not even like, it's so much worse than a drug. This isn't like a drug addiction anymore. This is like addicted to food and water. They went so far overboard in screwing up that now it's like being addicted to food and water. Not like illegal drugs. This isn't like a heroin addiction or cocaine or crack. This is like addicted to food. You eat or you will die. Sharks, as you would. They are sharks. Eat or die mentality, because they went so far overboard for so long with these crazy pimps, hunters, and these witch hoes permanent marks. This goes back to they are forcing these permanent marks upon me by keeping me captive in this bubble. So I am only fed things, or I'm only allowed things that are conducive to these permanent marks. Were like They were trying to shrink me down small in order to bury me. And so these permanent marks will keep me really, really small. And goes back into glass. I guess it goes back to Big Lake, Texas, Glasscock. I was, for my senior year, first period, I was a teaching assistant for Vice Principal Glasscock. I used to have to go to first period and basically sit in his office and work, go get coffee or donuts or something like that. But little did I know that there was a Glasscock Ford or Glasscock Chevrolet, which is Louis Chevrolet, in Big Lake, which is in Reagan County. And this was all, and so this was all, these are all permanent marks. Then it goes back to the JV, or because when I moved to Texas, and I have a feeling this dealt with, there's a building in New Orleans at 1010 Common Street, and it's Revenge Pride, first of all, for the beauty shop. The beauty shop I paid for, billion. The beauty shop is one of the biggest scams in the world. That's how the mob keeps me kidnapped. It's the ugly weapon. They surround me with ugly in order to make me make them beauty, and in order to, and it's really expensive, and it takes a lot of time, and it wastes prime time while my estate is being looted. It's a diversion tactic to a bank robbery. I call it, that's the beauty shop. So, you've got then all of these permanent marks that are inflicted that are for 1010 Common Street. So since everyone is every man a king because of Home Depot, Huey Long, then it is the beauty shop of English, which is a system based on hierarchy as a maintain a stabilizing control system structure is then therefore inflicted upon me as the beauty shop. So yeah, you've got, when I moved from Louisiana to Texas in 10th grade, there were totally different criteria. Not to mention I was very, very young for my age. I was always a year, there was actually a guy in my elementary school and junior high that was an entire year older than me. Michael Murray, born on the same day, a year ahead of me, 12'9". And I honestly think that has to do with the Aaron Murray. Aaron's rich to own Murray bikes, bait and switch bicycle thing. So he was an entire year older than me in elementary school. And born on the same day, we were in the same grade in elementary and junior high school. So when I moved to Texas, the requirements were different. And I looked very young for my age. And that's one of the reasons they wasted the entire prime of my life, because I have to pay for my body to these God creators. The retard genes from Omega amplified crackheads, and they chain smoke my entire life. They think I'm a barber because they got that's one of their permanent marks. BLM, MLB, Marber. So that since they are the God creators, the kidnapper, terrorists, God creators, they think they're smoking me my entire chain smoking me my entire life. So this is the retardation birth defect, because my entire network affects the South. That's why the South is doomed, screwed beyond all. But they're proud, they're brave, proud. So you got these crazy pimp hunters and these witch oaks, gatherers, pickers, and so they're inflicting these permanent marks upon me, like JV, relegated. Or when I went to 1 year. Oh, I went to the last semester. We knew I was moving, and I went to my last semester of high school at a public high school in Baton Rouge. So they got me on both sides. That's the 1010 public. So they get to share them. That's the community chest that is bankrupting the entire world right now because they went so far overboard. They're addicted like food and water rather than crackheads to the cracks that they create. And from the faulty tower logic and drilling into a fault line, as you would. So it's basically they're living on a volcano. They keep instigating that think they're infallible, untouchable, it'll never erupt because of hostage. So the permanent marks, the 1010 permanent marks, 1010 common street. And then you got Ren 1010. So they chopped my sister, E-R-I-N, chopped off the E, Ren 1010. Fetch! Boston Whaler fetch! Hacks. That's what's going on. Bait and switch. So whatever I do to try to escape is actually fetching for the kidnappers. Wow. Miracle. That is magic there. And then because the wealthy worship politicians rather than the perish globally, then therefore they have to conquer the world or face workers' revolution, people's revolution. So that's why the wealthy are attacking the world, because if that's why they're like sharks. They have to. Otherwise, they realize it's going to grow to the fact people's revolution eventually, and they're going to seize control of the wealth. It has to happen. It's logic. It's basic logic. That's not a fairy tale. That's how logic works. Because eventually, the dawning of age of man will then predicate sharing the wealth. And they have burned all their bridges to escape. And they wasted, they playboy wasted, they spent so much time at Riviera Country Club or at the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail for solidarity, brother. Scalpers, or they're playing all the sides. The wealthy are playing brave while they're on the country club. Yeah, they're playing sides poorly. The one person, or the one person they should have helped, they chose as their sacrifice for pride, their hunter pride, as you would. So I am facing all these permanent marks as far as anyone else. If you're part of the gang, they'll forgive you, but they will not forgive my permanent marks, these spear wounds, these sacred wells, these infections. They will not allow me to fix them either. So they're sacred wounds. When I get shot or I get stabbed, I get shot by one of these crazy pimp hunters with one of their scam hats. And when I say shot, I mean it is a hat, a well that has been drilled into that is bleeding me dry, and they are paying nothing. I recoup nothing. It is 100% pure volunteer giver, and I take nothing. They actually pay off bouncers or pimps to bury the body, and these witch hoes that'll use their magic wands or stabs. Then I get. So they inflict these permanent marks as far as you've got the JV mark, you've got the Omega mark, you've got the share. It's since I dated girls that were not, that were all in public schools, all the girls in my back pocket are then shared with the system, and I'm at her least. That's what the whole cherry pie thing is all about. So, because I was mismanaged and the crazy Catholics and Jews did not handle this right, and I got jumped and mugged by the public, then it is they are fighting for their permanent mark infection. It's all about sharing it's all about cherry pie buffet, really. That material girl Madonna, that's what it's all about. The Madonna material girls is what this whole permanent marks, crazy pimp hunters and witch hoes is all about. That's where it goes back to this Comic-Con, literally, the co-signature cosplay padre of the material girl Madonna cathouse that I paid for. Communal cathouse. Well, there are caste systems involved upon it, inflicted upon it by the members, Zoolander members only. So yeah, that's where you get into the infections that are worship. They worship the permanent marks as far as And then you've also got MAR, the KS. So there's what they do is permanent marks like punctuation. You've got Manhattan, Kansas, Kansas State University. And then you've got Kennesaw State, the owl, Scrappy the owl. Then there's ways that same logic as the matrix, TI equals. These are all math, university math. But once again, the university, if you think of even the word, the university is illiterate, the basis of it is based upon illiteracy. Because universe, I tie. Tie web, I guess. I don't know. So the universe, as far as a global or universal perspective, which they are really technical or community colleges. And this is all derived from hunger pains. Of me being stuck here in the prime of my life, forced to try to escape in order to get my stolen wallet back. And the game is, they're trying to justify my, I was raised horrifically bad. And I am unable to accomplish anything because for some reason, they want to keep me lone star. Home alone, starved, broke. They keep me isolated in this Omega castaway on this island that I have to try to host Alcatraz because of the Capone Capital One that I have to try, which is based in Virginia. A B there, that's a B. You can't use that, even though my name is Marks and Capital. That's where you get into the eraser. Mankato Moondogs. That's why I am not allowed to grow up to be a man, even though my degree is in management, but I cannot afford. They want me to go out, and I've got rules. I can only, even though I've worked 20 years on their permanent marks matter more than mine. I am not, I am dependent. I am not the dungeon master. The crazy part about this whole logic. I am not allowed to, because they're trying to keep control. They're trying to control, it's like a controlled substance lab, containment. They will only let me grow up at a certain pace. That's why they had to get the media guilty. Because I could really easily make a few $1 million and escape real easily using my logic. So they've got to use logic to where they can control the environment to keep me captive to a certain degree. So yeah, they worship these permanent marks that they inflict. They do not believe in me, the blood. They do not believe it. They even though all I'm trying to do is manage an estate as a bank officer principal. And yeah, sure, I am a capitalist. I am not volunteering. I plan on building an estate from my endeavors, but yeah, I am planning on figuring out ways to utilize this either through building. I was trying to build a trade business. That was the Louis hedge fund, the sign I hung up in Aspen on the Ben and Jerry's walls. The Louis hedge fund. There was going to be transportation, manufacturing within the state trade. I mean, there are ways, or real estate development, or things like that, or artistically, there are ways I can make money, but I am not allowed to because they are out of my league as reverence, as owner. I can only pay ye the lessee revenge. Can only pay ye lessee. I am not allowed to be a master because of the rank that is inflicted upon me by these crazy pimp hunters and witch hoes who are proud. Cathouse proud cheers. I mean, just absolutely insane. They are winning right now. Like Charlie Sheen, they are winning. They are addicted. But I mean, the level of logic is so piss poor. It is beyond any sort of mentality. It's beyond any sort of because it collapses real easy. Obviously, they don't have a lot. They're trying to create they're trying to undermine strip mine. That's your Bo and Luke Dukes of Hazzard movie filmed at Baton Rouge. Johnny Knoxville Jackass and Sean William Scott. Dude, where's my car? American Pie. And also the 2003 VMAs Matrix spoof where they I Am the Keymaker with Justin Timberlake to get them in the door to sip in some Cristal. So yeah, the logic is they're strip mining the world. That's what's going on because it's turning into lava, super volcano lava. This casino is lava. It is. It really is. And yet, it's all based upon this worship of Home Depot, which is being funded by Everman of King, Huey Long, who got shot, by the way. It's being funded through this Lexi Bell Penthouse Suite Keymaker MasterCard Visas that goes through me, but I'm not allowed to use. I'm just the reverend. I don't know. That's all I can do. So, another waste today.